Welcome to class. If you're watching this video, then you are currently enrolled in American federal government. My name is Ken Hicks, and this is POLS 1113, American federal government, which is part of Rogers State University's general education requirements. Why is American federal government required? First, although most of you are not likely to become political scientists, you most likely will be citizens of the United States and of Oklahoma or of one of the other 49 states of the Union. As such, you stand to benefit from understanding the nature of our government and how it works. This course is also part of the general education curriculum because it will expose you to a knowledge set and an approach to knowledge that is different from the degree that you're likely to pursue. In that sense, taking this course seriously will deepen your understanding of the world around you and provide you with a more solid grounding as a citizen. Briefly, American federal government is Citizenship 101. The idea behind it is that if you know how the government works and you know what your rights and responsibilities are, you'll be more likely to be an informed and active citizen. Once you've worked your way through this course, this is what we want you to know. You should understand how democracy works, as well as understanding the major political institutions of our constitutional system. You should be able to analyze major political trends, events, and personalities. You should be able to evaluate political systems and processes. You should be able to demonstrate an understanding of American history and major social trends of family, education, politics, and economics, and/or religious institutions. There is one text required for this course. This is Benjamin Ginsberg, Theodore Lowy, Margaret Ware, and Robert Spitzer, the 2018 version of We the People that's published by W.W. Norton and Company. There may be some additional readings. The We the People text is also what we call the 12th Oklahoma edition. It includes a chapter by my colleagues here in the Department of History and Political Science. There may be additional readings, some required and some recommended, that can be located on the Course Resources tab of the taskbar and are available throughout the semester, as are study guides, PowerPoints, and other resources. As for the course requirements, there are 1,000 points distributed relatively evenly throughout the semester over 4 broad categories of assignments. Forums are worth 240 points, and I'll post a weekly instruction for participation in the forums, which substitute for classroom discussion. Each weekly forum is worth 15 points outside of week 1. I think it is in week 1 as well. In order to earn full credit, you need to make an initial post of at least 75 words by Tuesday of the week, the relevant week that we're assigned, that we have assigned reading. And that's supposed to demonstrate that you're at least trying to understand the assigned material. Then you need to make at least 4 posts in excess of 45 words each, and you need to make those posts on the majority of the days of the week in order that the forum is up. And the weeks are going to go from Sunday to Sunday. So that's what you got to do in order to earn full credit. That means you can't just plug in on the last day of the forum, make 4 posts, and expect to earn full credit. You need to post over the course of the week, which is kind of, again, trying to model the forum after a virtual classroom that's week-long. So there are 2 kinds of posts I'm looking for. Your initial summary post of the week, again, should do something to demonstrate to me that you've read the assigned material. That means you could provide a brief summary, tell me something about the assigned reading that in your view is most important, in terms of understanding that week's readings. And then you can post questions, and basically, they have to be questions that demonstrate real confusion and basically real engagement with the reading. Your remaining reply posts should be interactive in nature. In other words, you should be engaging with one another in discussion of the material. I don't want to see a bunch of mutually congratulatory statements like, wow, what a great post, Skyla, I never thought of it that way. Those kinds of posts are not informative, and they're really not demonstrating that you're learning anything other than how to schmooze one another. You need to engage with one another and even disagree, hopefully respectfully. So remember, at least 1 summary post by the Tuesday of the relevant week, and then at least 4 other posts distributed over the course of that week, and that's worth 20 points each week, or 15 points each week, and that adds up. The weekly quizzes are also worth 240 points. Each week you'll be responsible for taking a quiz that will be due on that second Sunday that will test your knowledge of the assigned reading. There will be a set number of questions drawn from a larger universe in random order, with the options similarly randomized. Each quiz will be timed at 45 minutes, and again are also worth 20 or 15 points. Most of the questions will be multiple choice, each worth 1 point. There will be a section that will be comprised of either concept identification or short answer questions worth another 5 points. Concept ID requires students to define and explain the significance of an important concept for understanding the material for that week. For example, federalism, which will come up in both weeks 2 and 3, would be defined as a system of government in which sovereignty is divided between a national government and smaller subunits. That would be the definition. For significance, students could note that the United States Constitution establishes a federal system of government with some powers enumerated or basically designated to the federal government. An example of that would be national defense. Some powers would be concurrent or shared, which is the power to tax would be an example of that. And some powers are reserved to the states. And for example, the states have the exclusive power to establish local governments. Another set of assignments are weekly study guides. They're worth 160 points. One of the clearest indicators of student success is disciplined study. Students who consistently read the assigned material and study that material are consistently more successful than students who do not. To that end, I have provided weekly study guides for the assigned material for each week. Students are expected to download each weekly study guide and complete a portion of each week's study guide and submit it no later than, again, 11:55 of the last day of that week, which will always be Sunday. This is not busy work. This is your opportunity to demonstrate to me that you're doing your due diligence as a student. Each study guide is worth 10 points, and that adds up over the course of the semester. It can mean the difference between an A or a B, or between a C and a D. And frankly, it is more than a letter grade. It's about a letter grade and a half of your overall grade. There will be 3 examinations worth 270 points. And again, each examination will cover a unit or a combination of chapters in greater detail. Unit 1 covers chapters 1 through 3 plus chapter 15. Unit 2 is devoted to chapters 4 through 8. And Unit 3 consists of chapters 9 through 14. Each examination consists, again, of random selections of multiple choice questions from each chapter, and then a concept identification section and a short answer section that are worth 25 and 35 points respectively. Students will have 2 hours to complete the examination. You have 2 short writing assignments that are, again, required. They're designed for students to read a newspaper or magazine article that can be found in the relevant course resources section, and then you're going to write a 3 to 5 page essay on the topic. I'm not trying to program you. What I do want you to do is think critically and creatively and in more detail about some aspect of being an American citizen. And secondly, about the difficulties inherent in governing such a large and diverse nation. So each short writing assignment is worth 45 points. And there will be instructions with guided questions for each assignment, which are due in week 7 and week 15. And the drop box for those assignments can be found in that week. And they should be open throughout the semester. There is extra credit available up to 100 points for students who feel like they're not performing as well as they'd like. 100 points is basically a letter grade. So you can improve yourself from a B to an A or from a D to a C. You're not going to be able to jump from an F to an A using extra credit, so don't put yourself in that position. Regarding late assignments, I'm generally pretty lenient about accepting late work, but I will penalize for lateness. So you're typically only going to receive partial credit for a late assignment. If you alert me ahead of time that you're having difficulty getting an assignment completed on time, I will generally be a lot more forgiving and will subsequently penalize far less. Sometimes I won't penalize at all if you're giving me that heads up. With regard to deadlines, this is a week-to-week course, and if you respect the deadlines will respect you. Getting work in on time is one of the most important indicators we professors can use as evidence of students' effort and commitment to earning a good grade in the class. As for grading policy, I'm generally regarded as a tough A and a relatively easy C. I want students to earn their grade, but I'm pretty soft-hearted towards students who, maybe they don't come alive for this particular course. I completely understand that. The academic misconduct policy can be found on page 5 of the course syllabus, and I can summarize that policy by just simply saying, don't cheat. It's a bad thing. Students with disabilities, I'm just going to read this off my syllabus. Rogers State University is committed to providing students with disabilities equal access to educational programs and services. Any student who has a disability that he or she believes will require some form of academic accommodation must inform the professor of such need during or immediately following the first class attended. Before any educational accommodation can be provided, it is the responsibility of each student to provide eligibility for assistance by registering for services through Student Affairs. Students needing more information about student disability services should contact the Office of Student Affairs. And I can give you the numbers for that. The one number is 918-343-6828, and again, the office is over in the Carolyn Taylor Center. A note on my teaching philosophy: I believe in the Socratic method, which involves basically asking questions and facilitating a discussion. I would prefer to see discussions rather than lectures, although I recognize that quite often I have to pitch in and try to explain and contextualize things. But I believe you're going to learn more and retain information more effectively when you are actively engaged in the learning process. Okay, that can be a bit harder to do in an online class, but I do try to work Socratic elements into my forums and written assignments. About me, my name is Ken Hicks. I'm an Army brat. I grew up mostly on Army bases in the Deep South. I earned my master's degree and my PhD from the University of South Carolina, and I've been working here at Rogers State University since 1999, so I'll be completing my 20th year here at Rogers State University. I'm also the department head of History and Political Science, which means I'm around quite a bit. So if you have any questions, find my office and please feel free to stop by. I believe in the mission of public higher education. To provide affordable college degrees to everyone with the drive, discipline, and ambition to earn a degree, regardless of your income level or your parents' income. A college degree remains the surest pathway for Americans into the middle class and beyond. And I believe passionately in what I'm doing today, as passionately as when I started. Everything I've said in this introduction is contained in the electronic copy of the course syllabus, for which there is a link in the taskbar on the left side of the course site. The syllabus also contains a tentative course schedule, which you can consult to see where assignments are due. Of course, the LMS, the Learning Management System, will also make those dates available to you. So if I move a due date for an assignment, it will generally always be backward. Let me emphasize to each of you, you will get out of this course what you put into it. If you work hard, you're going to learn a lot about how our governments work and why they sometimes appear not to work. I hope you enjoy this course and that we can learn a lot together.